All right, I'm still waiting for somebody to join me, and right now there's no one, but that's okay. So I sent this email out a little bit ago, and it said today will be a fairly short lecture. What I'm planning on doing right now is redoing the React Weather app, but redoing it as a class component. And as it says here, you're still going to be responsible. So I'm going to put all the, I'm taping this. All right, but you will still be responsible for creating the app yourselves, making it work, prettying it up, etc., and then turning it in along with your other stuff. All right, remember your homework is due, I think we said tonight. All right. So we will continue with the MERNStack app next Monday, and we'll work on it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. All right, so with that said, I'm just going to get started here. And the first thing I'm going to do, as we always do, is, well, before we even do that, let me just show you this. I got online and I went in and Googled React functional components versus class components. Most of them were like this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this particular picture here. It shows you the same program, and it shows it on the left as a class component and on the right as a functional component. But all it does is show you an H1 tag that says hello world. All right. I guess I thought that there would be more examples out there that you could use that would just convert one from one to the other, but it appears as though some people were having issues getting the stuff to work. So I just decided to do it with you, for you, however you want to say it. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create a new folder. And it's a React Weather app with class components. So let's just call it that, React Weather app with class it's the biggest name I've ever given anything. So it's React, you can call it whatever you want, of course, but I call it React Weather app with class components. How about let's just call it React with class components, make it a little bit smaller. All right. All right. So that's what I did. React with class components. All right. So there's the new folder. I'm going to open that folder up, right mouse click in it, do my git bash here. You know what this is. We've done this plenty of times. All right. And I'm going to open up here with my git bash here. I'm going to say npx create react app dot. All right. So right here and hit enter. And this will take a minute or two. As you know, we've done this before. It's already started. So there's the package.json that it's making right now, etc. So it'll take a minute or two. There are about, I don't know, 80 lines or so that we'll have to type in. I think it's really less than that, but it's something around there. We're gonna work with 3 files: the app.js file, and we're gonna do the kind of thing we've normally been doing with it, but we'll make it a class component, and then we're gonna make 2 other components that we'll put into a component folder. All right. So we've got our node modules now. So hopefully it's just finishing up. Did I turn on the darn recorder? Yes, I did. Good. So again, we have this React with class components, and I think it's finished. Let's double check. There's your happy hacking. So let me clear this, and that's fine with it for there. All right, now I'm not going to do the stuff that I have been doing as far as going into the source folder and removing this and removing that. That's all okay. I am going to do this. The first thing I'm going to do is right from here, I will need Axios. We could do it with fetch, but I used Axios. And if I told you to do it with fetch, well, then you'll have to figure that out yourselves. But I'm going to say npm I Axios, all right, to bring Axios into the program. All right, so we've got that. Let me clear. And then we're going to do a couple things in here. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to put any code in them, but I'm just going to go in and I'm going to create a components folder. And in that components folder, I'm going to create 2 files. The first one will be called location.js with a capital L. So location.js, oh, no, I'm sorry. I made it a folder, so let me get that out of there. All right, so new text document. And again, it will be location.js. Yes, I want to change the extension, and we'll make one more, and that one will be called weatherinfo.js. These names are arbitrary. They're just what I decided on. So if you wanted to call them something else, you could. All right. So now I'm going to jump back into, so I've got this React with class components. All right. So that's where I am, and I'm going to do a code dot, and I'm going to do most everything else. I think I should be able to do everything else from inside of Visual Studio. All right. Okay, so taking it from the beginning, here's our source, and I'm going to open up app.js. Again, just so you're aware of this, I did absolutely zero formatting on this, so it's pretty ugly. All right. Okay. Let's see. I don't need this import statement, so I'm getting rid of that. And I'm going to get rid of everything. I'll put my own div in here. So I got rid of everything that was inside of that. All right. And don't worry, I know it's got to be a class. In fact, every component we make in here is going to be a class component. So we normally would have had this, right? And we could have run it and it would have shown all that good neato stuff, etc. Let's just do this. Let's literally get rid of everything that's in here other than that import statement. All right. And I'm going to leave the export default app. So that's all we've got now. And I'm just literally going to start it from scratch. All right. So in fact, I didn't do any work with app.css, but it's still, that's okay. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to import React from React. I don't even know if you need that in here for a class one, but I did it anyway. I'm going to import Axios, which I just did from Axios. And I'm going to import the two files we just created. So I'm going to import here location from /components/location. And I'm also going to import weather info from /components/weather info. All right, so this is what I've done so far. A lot of gray in here because none of this stuff is being used. All right, but I've got my import React from React, import Axios from Axios, import location from /components/location, import weather info rather from /components/weather info, and import the app.css. All right. And even with that one, just so you know, if I go into that app.css, that remember is set up. Okay, and that is set up for your typical functional components. I'm just going to remove everything that's in there too. All right. And then I'm going to jump back into my app.js and start coding. So this again is a class component. So I'm going to start with class app extends react dot component. All right. And you don't set state the same way. There's not a use state in here. So there's not a state and a set state. All right. I'm going to say this. All of the details that I'm going to get from my weather info when I go out and make the call to the Open Weather Map API, I'm putting into a variable that I called forecast details. You can call it anything you want. All right, but I'm calling it forecast details. So I'm going to come in here and say state equals, and then in curly braces, forecast details. All right. And I'm going to basically initialize it to null. We haven't even made the call yet, so there's nothing to call, so to speak. All right. And well, what does that have to do with anything? Well, what's going to happen is basically when I go in, I didn't have any buttons in my program. I just have the text box. So once you put a value in the text box and you hit enter, it's basically going to call Axios for you to go out and do all the work that has to or should be done. All right. So I said here on search submit, made it an asynchronous function. Remember, we could use async, we could use callbacks, or we could use promises, but I tried to use the latest and greatest. All right. And what we're going to be looking for is something that I refer to as input value. All right. So this will be my Axios call. So const response equals await Axios dot get. Now this is kind of long. All right. So let me go ahead and hit enter right here and put it over 2 lines. I know I can just word wrap as well. I get that. In fact, let's turn on word wrap. All right. But I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do my backtick, https://api.openweather.data/2.5/weather. I've got this here. I'm working off a copy that I made earlier. All right. Again, this is going to wrap anyway, but you'll see most of it on here at least. So weather question mark Q equals $. That input value that we just talked about a second ago. All right, that's what gets passed in here, right there. So Q equal input value. All right, we set the units up to be imperial. So units equal imperial. So we're using Americanized units, and our app ID equals, and I'm going to cheat here because I have mine over here someplace. Oh, where are you? Where are you? There it is. So rather than have to key all that big mess in, all right, I'm just going to bring it in right there. And let's see, I need to end my parenthesis. So again, that is going to be, oh, I already did it in the parentheses, it's up here. That is going to be my call out to Axios to get the information. All right. And let's see. All right. One more line, and that is in here, and it's this dot set state. What do I want to set it to? Well, forecast details. That's the way I'm going to refer to it. Forecast details. So that's the key, but what's the actual value? The response that I just did up above, and I can see I spelled response wrong. So response dot data. Let me fix this. There. And that should be a little r. There we go. So what we've done in here is we're setting this forecast details thing to null. So originally it has a null value. However, once we put in something, all right, and it looks like I forgot to put the fat arrow in there also. Okay, so once we put in something here and we hit the enter key, then what we are going to attempt to do here then is that's when we're submitting into the form there are the value that we're going to search for. So async input value, fat arrow with a curly brace, const response equal, and that's the await, and that's our call to Axios that you can see on line 12. All right. Then we say this dot set state, and again, we're going to refer to it as forecast details. You can see it there and here, but it's actually the response.data that we're getting back from Axios. All right. So far at least, all right, what we have finished is we are done with that. So remember, the other thing that we have to do in here, of course, is we have to render. All right, so render, paren, and we put it inside of our curly braces. All right, and there's only a couple lines in here. So I'm going to return. And I'm going to return what? Well, I did do a little bit of work in here, but not really a whole heck of a lot. All right. So what I'm saying is basically I just threw divs in here. So I've got a div here. Oops. And in here, I put in an H1 and it says weather details for, and then in my H1. Then I'm going to have this location thing, which you're going to write next, on search submit, and that equals this dot on search submit. And literally one more line and we're finished with this one. All right. And that is we want to put the actual details in here. All right. Now, the way that it's set up right now, and maybe this wasn't the best way to set it up, I don't know. But if it finds the city that matches, it's going to show the information that we're going to tell it to show. And otherwise, it's going to show nothing, nothing at all. All right. So this dot state dot forecast details, and we'll put that, whoops, with a question mark. All right. And again, it's going to wrap. So let me just put this, and I'll put it a little bit down below here so you can see as much of this as possible. So I'm going to say here, weather info forecast details equal, okay? And again, we want it to show the details if there are any. So if we put in a valid city, and to show nothing if we did not. All right. So forecast details equal this dot state dot forecast forecast details. All right. So that's what's there under the question mark. Now I'm putting it like this, but when I save it later, of course, it's going to reformat it for me because I got the auto prettier on in here. All right. And I'm telling it that for the else, just give me an empty div. In other words, don't show me anything. All right. Now, what am I getting this here? Curly expected. All right, which means it's expecting a curly brace, which I'm not giving it. Okay. And that curly brace is because we've got one here. We've got one here. This one is ending here. And the other one should end actually right after here. There we go. That's everything in app.js. So give me a second. I want to run over everything that's in here. I'm importing React from React. Now, if it's easier when you guys go through this stuff, if it's easier, all right, then just do a screenshot right here. I'm going to make you key it in. I'm not going to save this in a GitHub repo. All right, so import React from React, import Axios from Axios, import location from /component/location, import weather info from .component/weather info, and import ./app.css. All right, now this is a true class component because it is starting with class. So class app extends react.component. All right, and then next what we are doing in here, all right, is we are basically setting the state in here. All right. So we're saying state equal forecast details is the way we're going to be referring to it. That's our key. And its current value is null. Then we're going to come in here, and when the user hits the enter key here, we are going to make a get request to Axios. We're going to tell it to grab that response.data and put it into forecast details. All right. Finally, we've got to render out what we want to render. All righty. So we'll have weather details 4, and then we'll put that stuff out there. You're going to see what I mean exactly in just a moment or two. So like I said, there's a couple extra blank lines in here, but it's less than 30 lines. All right. And then once I save, so if I come in here and do a file save, it's going to reformat anyway. All right. So it did go, since I hit enter here, the word wrap didn't matter, but I thought it read a little better like this. All right. And there's everything else. So I'm hoping, at least, I'm hoping that I didn't make any mistakes in here. If for some reason, when we run this in just a few minutes, there is a mistake in here, I apologize in advance. All right. And we'll figure out what it is. I've got the program working. I have a working copy. So let me do a file, save. All right. And next, doesn't really matter which one of these we do next, but next I'm going to do the location. All right, so let me bring that up. So under components, I've got location. There it is. There's nothing in there right now. All right, I'm again going to import React from React. And again, this will be another class component. So class location extends React dot component. All right, and then at the very bottom, you already know this. All right, so at the very bottom here, we're going to say export default location. Okay, all right, so let's write this one now. Now, here we're going to add a constructor. In fact, we're going to add a constructor into both of these, into both the location.js, which I'm doing right now, and into the what's the other one again? Weatherinfo.js, which we'll do in a moment. All right. So remember, you say constructor and you pass in props. Props basically, again, are the equivalent of you passing in parameters. All right. So props, and then you say super props. Now, Nicholas and James already know this because they've gone through the AWD1112 class when it was a Java class, but the call to super means call the parent constructor. So it is calling the component constructor in there, and it's passing those props in. All right. Now, there's only one more line that we want to put in here. All right. And that is this dot state equals, and we're using this input value. Put a space there. It doesn't really matter one way or the other, but input value. And we're going to initialize it to the empty string. Okay. And input value is basically the value that we're putting in there into that text box. All right. Now, what we want to tell it to do in here is once we put in that value, which is our location, the city, whatever you want to call it, and once you put in and boom, you hit enter, all right, we basically want to tell it to do its thing. All right. So this is going to be in a form in just a minute. In fact, we're going to put it down below when we render, but I'm going to say on form submit equal. And remember, this is the event, so I'm just going to call it E. All right. And the first thing I want to do is I don't want it to submit anywhere. So I'm going to say E.prevent default. All right. Then we're going to say this dot props dot on search submit. This dot state dot input value. All right. There's about 7 or 8 lines we put into the render. So let me put those in, and then we'll go back and look at everything that's in here. All right. So we've got our render. Oops, not render. Okay. And in our render, we've got our return. All right. And this will be our form. All right. And you can give it a class name if you want to. I'm just going to do this. Equals, mine is not formatted at all. All right. On submit equals this dot on form submit. Whoops, try that again. Equals this dot on form submit. All right. And that's the end of that form tag. We're not done yet, but we need not much in here. We're going to have an input. So there's going to be an input box. The type is text. The name, it's going to be a city. So let's just call it city. And I'll hit enter here just so it's a little easier to read. Placeholder. You don't have to do that, but I'm going to say here, enter city here, something like that. All right. And then our on change event. So on our on change equal E, try that again. E, we're not done. Why it's doing this, it's acting weird today. All right, I'm going to put here this dot set state input value E dot target dot value. All right, we've got those things in there. Boom, boom, boom. So what we actually want in here is we've got a curly, that and a curly, and then we want to end this. All right. And that's it. That's it for this one. So about 25 lines. So let's take a quick look at that. Again, we are importing React from React. It's a class component, so it's extending React.component. We call our constructor and we pass it props. Our constructor must call super first and pass those props up. All right, then we're setting state here. This is setting basically the one input value that we're using that's called input value. And it's setting it to the empty string. Then when we submit the form, and since we don't have a button here that says submit, when we're hitting enter, we're basically submitting the form. All right, we don't want to make sure nothing happens, so we're doing the e.prevent default. All right, then with the props, the on.search submit, it's telling it that basically we're setting the state to be that value. So here we set it equal to nothing, and in here we're setting it even equal to whatever value we end up putting in here. All right, and then we've got our render where we've got our form, a very simplistic form. All right, I'm expecting that you're going to put in the class name and a value here, etc. On submit is this dot on form submit. Then we have just simply an input field of type text. Its name is city. The placeholder is enter city here. And the on change event basically says, all right, that when we do that and hit enter, that we are going to set the input value equal to whatever we put in there. Okay. Then we export this, and that's it for this one. So file, I'll do a save all here. All right, again, it did format it again a little bit for me. And now let's just do the last one. which is the longest one, but it's not super long. All right, so let me keep all these open just in case, but I don't need the CSS because it's now empty anyway. But let me come back here and let me open up weather info, which has got nothing in it. So again, we'll start out again with an import React from React. And again, this will be another class component. So class weather info, and it will extend React.component. And again, at the bottom, I'm going to say export default weather info. Okay, now we got to put the guts in, starting right here. Now, I didn't do any special processing here. I could have gone in and tried to bring in the image, etc. You can do that if you want to. Again, mine is pretty much going to look the same as the last one did. So I've got my constructor here. Again, passing in props. And again, saying super props. And I don't even think we really need this one here because I know the first time I think I ran it, it gave me a warning saying that this was an unnecessary constructor, but doesn't hurt anything to put it in there. So now everything else I'm doing is in my render here. All right, so this is going to be everything else that we're going to do. About 20 lines or so, 20 to 30 lines of code. That'll be it. Then we will quick test it. All right, and if it all works, I'll be done by around 1 o'clock. All right, and to try to be fair, because I am giving you this assignment today, I wasn't going to do this, but I guess I will take this and I'll put it out there as in a GitHub repo. All right, and just so I don't forget to do that, let me jump out here right now. And what's the name of this again? It's React with class components. So let me just jump out here and go out to GitHub, make a new repository, make sure I'm the owner, and it's React with class components. It'll be public. I'll put that out there. I'm going to grab this line right here. Okay. And in here, because I'm still in there, I'm going to do my git init. All right. I won't even do a git add dot. I'll do that stuff when I'm all done. All right. So I'm just going to pass this in right now, which sets up my origin. So git remote -v, and it looks like that's set. Okay. Let me jump back and finish this up now. Sorry for the interlude there. So I put everything inside of divs, as you might guess. All right. So I've got a div here. Then I put in another div. And I'll tell you why, even though it's going to look weird that I put another div in here because I immediately followed it by a div. But I thought maybe I'd want to put other stuff in here than what I have. But for now, I just did this. I put in a paragraph and I said location, this dot props dot forecast details. Now I got to watch it here because I think that should be a lowercase c. Let me double check and make sure I used it as lowercase c all over the place. So forecast details, forecast details, forecast details. That looks good. I don't even know if I used it in here. I don't think I did. Okay. So forecast details dot name. All right. That's going to be our location. That's the name of the city. Okay. So that's first thing. All righty. And then I had another div in here. And this is where I put everything basically. All right. Again, this is just the way I did it. I tried to make it look as much like the one that we did as a functional component as possible. All right. So again, I have another div in here. and another div in there. And the first thing I put in here was I used a span just to do something different. Sometimes I used a span. Sometimes I used a paragraph. Why? Why not? So temperature. And then in here, I've got this dot props dot forecast details dot main dot temp. All right, that is the temperature. All right. And after that, I put in immediately ampersand DEG because that's the degree thing. F. I don't have my word wrap turned on in here. Now it is. All right. And then end the span. I think that was everything that I put in here. Double checking on my master copy here. And it is. All right. So that's going to give me the temperature. All right. Then underneath that, I put in another div. And I made this into a paragraph. Again, it could have been just as easily a span, but I said details. And we've got this dot props dot forecast details dot weather 0 dot description. Okay. And that'll say, sunny, cloudy, whatever it is that it happens to be. Just a couple more and we're actually finished. All right. So that's description, not descriptions. That'd be a good way to make it break. All right. Then in here, after that, I put in, let's see, I've got the temperature. I didn't put in the location. Let me add that. All right. I really should have added that up on the top here. So let's put in another div right here. And we will make that a paragraph. And it'll just say location. This dot props dot forecast details dot name. Okay. And that and that. All right. So I've got the location, the temperature, the details. I don't remember what I had last time. All right. It was pretty much like this. And we'll add the humidity. That should be plenty. So another div, paragraph, humidity, and that was this dot props dot forecast details dot main dot humidity. Humidity, I think that's spelled right, with a percent sign, and then end your paragraph. And believe it or not, I think I'm finished. All right. So in this one, we imported React. All right, we had the call to the constructor and everything else was in the render. So we first rendered the location, which should be the name of our city, prefaced with location : space. And I guess I did have it in here twice, so I screwed up. I put it in there twice. All right, well, let's get rid of one of them. I guess I don't even need this one then, so. Okay. Now I might have one too many divs. I don't think I do, but we'll see. All right, so there's the location. Then we have the temperature. Then we had the details, and finally the humidity. All right, I'm going to save this and give it a run. I have no idea if it's going to work or not. Knowing the luck I always have, it probably won't. All right, but let me clear this. All right, because I'm going to actually run it from in here. So a file, save here. Let's just save everything. A file, save here. I think it's all been saved anyway, but a file and a save here. All right, then I'm going to do my view terminal. Bring this up. And in here, I'm going to do let's do an npx kill minus port 3000. I don't think I've got anything running anyway, but just in case. All right, so that cleared, or that did clear it out. So I'm going to do my npm start. And again, hope and pray that there aren't any mistakes. Well, weather details 4. Well, I'm in Wentzville. Put that in and hit enter. Hit enter, and of course, nothing happened. Well, that isn't good. That means I'm missing something. Let me show you quickly. I'm going to go right back to my program, but I want to show you the working one just so you can believe that indeed it does work. All right. So let me stop this. In fact, I'm going to exit here, and I'm going to come back into here, and I'm going to do a file save, and I'm going to exit here also. So let me, again, I'm going to do my npx kill minus port 3000. All right. And once that comes up, let me clear this and exit here as well. All right. So I'm out of there. Let me get out of here. So I'm going to do a file exit from here as well. All right. So file exit down at the bottom. There we go. All right. So like I said, for some reason, this isn't working. So I want to show you the one that does work, which means I'll have to make a different thing because I call this one React Weathers. And I spelled weather wrong. I put Weeder CC, but let's look at it. All right. So I'm going to get bash here. I am going to do my npm start just to show you that this one works. Okay. So I come in here, I type in Wentzville, hit enter, and there's my information. All right. So again, no formatting. It's pushed way over. There's the location. There's the temperature. You should run the round function or something to make that round. So it's just a 61. That would look better. You can feel free to add anything you want or put it in and set it up basically just like this. But at a minimum, you should center it. You should make it look nice because that's part of what you're going to be graded on. All right. Now, again, this one should be the exact same code as the one I just had. Should be. All right. But this one is called React Weeder. I don't know if I'm going to see if I can come in here and change the name of this and see if it screws up anything or not. So I'm going to put React, just so, because I'm squirrely that way, React Weather.cc. So now I've changed that. Let me bring it up again. All right. And let me do a git bash on here again. Just to be sure, I'm going to do my kill, npx kill minus port 3000. And let me do my npm start just to make sure it still works. I don't think that changing the name of a folder should change anything in here, but you never know. Okay, so St. Louis, and there's the information. So it looks like it's working. So again, I'll put this out there, but going back, let's do this quickly. All right, I'm going to go back, and in here, I'm going to try to find your homework because I want to make sure that everybody sees this. All right, of course, no items matched. That's lovely. Oh, because I'm in the wrong folder. Do it from your desktop, Jeff. All right. So star react star.doc. It's going to come up with a few of these, but I want the one there is React assignment 2. So complete the React weather app, adding your own CSS, design styling. Again, that's 40 of the points. Next, make a copy and change it so it now contains class components and no functional components. So I'm kind of giving you those 10. So what I'm going to do quickly is I go back and forth in here. Sorry about that, but let me do a Control C here, clear and exit and get the heck out of here. All right, so this is React Weather CC. So even though I just created a GitHub repo with a different name, I don't care. So I'm going to come back in here again, and I'm going to back up. I'm going to do create a new repository. That's its name. All right, I'm the owner. It's free. So React Weather CC, it's now public. I'm going to create the repo. I am going to grab this line again, copy it to the clipboard. In here, I'm going to do all my GitHub goodies. So I'm going to come in here and do my git init. There's that. My git add dot. There's that. My git commit -m, and we'll say React weather app with class components. All right, and this was done on 11/23/2022. So that's done. Let's paste that. I didn't grab it. Let me grab it now. I did grab that. So let me copy that. Let me paste that in. So I've got an origin. Hit enter. Do my git remote -v just to make sure it worked. Looks like it did. Do my git push -u origin master. That should push everything. Good. It's thinking about it. Good. It's done. And when I come back to here, and not there, here, and I refresh, there it is. So you now have that copy. React Weather App with class components. This will be the name of the repo. I will make sure to add that. All right. Right there. So I'll add that later. But looking then at your homework, you have to take this React app that I just did before your very eyes, and you have to add your own CSS design, styling, etc. That's 40 out of the 50 points. If you just bring the repo down, you should have the 10 points. All right. Then go and with the React app, all right, add your own CSS, your own design, your own styling, etc. Okay. And I want you to change so that I want you to change it in here. I don't even know what that meant anymore, but that's okay. I think I was going to give you a copy of what it should look like. But grab the React Movies app and change it so it now has an Axios call and not a fetch call. All right. So that's 10 points. And completing it again and making it look nice is 40. Probably already have that done. And the last one is the one we did as a class. I even sent you the article. All right. And that was that React-router-6 project. Okay. And I asked you to make the changes. If you don't remember what that is, go ahead and take a look. You are replacing what's in that document with what's here for the course names. That's all you really have to do. Fix with the descriptions, don't worry about it. All right. So just you want to use those course names. That's what we care about. The descriptions, it's no big deal. But I do want you to comment this. And as it says, that's 15 points. And I will tell you that some of these 40 points in here, I'm just going to add this right now so you see it. And I'll say, including comments, because I want you to be able to show me that you understood in these class component files what was going on. All right. So again, if you don't, go back and watch this video again. All right. And again, this article, this React Router 6, see if I can find it. That was it there. There is the actual URL for it, but I don't want that. I want the document. You can learn more and create to learn this. Code splitting, make a progressive. Where are you? Thought someplace in here it had where that was from. So let's see. No, I didn't think it'd be there, but so create React app 6. project. See if I can find it from here. Well, what I will attempt to do before I hand this out to you is to find where I got that from. All right, in fact, I know I've got it in here. Let's see. Or in here. It might be in here. React Router v6 for the project. There it is. So it's right here. All right. So that was the third part of your homework. So I will create a hyperlink there. Try to put that in there. There it is. All right. I will resend this out to you. So again, now I'm not going to lie to you. I probably won't look at this before Sunday. If you need to have till Sunday to get this in, then take till Sunday to get it in. I want to grade everything on Sunday because we have 14 days left after today, 5 next week, 5 the following week, and 4, and we're finished. This is your last assignment except for the MERN project we're working on together and your portfolio. So I only want those 2 things that I have to grade from everybody at the end of the semester. So complete the weather app. Again, add your own comments, styling, etc., including comments. All right. And you've already got this. So you've already got the 10. Here you've already done this. It should still work, but you're just adding Axios instead of the fetch call that's in there. All right. And finally, using that document, go in and make some superficial changes. I'm hoping at least that you'll look at that and that you will follow all instructions. All right. So that's everything. That should be everything that you need to my knowledge. Okay, let me do a file save all. Save as, I'm going to throw it right out on the desktop. So I'm sure I've got it. All right. So this is what I always do every day. I come back in here, then I've got kind of 2 letters or so that I've written. So this will be this one. All right. So again, yesterday was a lab. So this will be Wednesday, 11/23. This will be day 66 because that's what today is. Wednesday, 11/23. All right. And as soon as I save that, I grab that SharePoint thing that's in there. And this will be like 1 hour. It might not even be an hour. So this like 1 hour lecture will be out also on my YouTube channel. And I'll put that there. All right. And I'm going to say today, Wednesday, 11/23. We redid the React weather app as a class component app. Says you can go out to the following GitHub URL and pull down that repo. For this app. Okay. And I save that over here someplace. There it is. So again, that'll be out there as well. All right. Please have this assignment in no later then 11:59 p.m. Sunday, today's the 23rd. I think that's the 27th, 2022. All right. All right. So remember to have this assignment in no later than that. Please feel free. Thanks. And to all of you, have a nice Thanksgiving break. All right. So you will get this email from me in a matter of moments. All right. The only thing that's in there that's not in there right now, I don't need this. This was a long time ago. All right. I don't think I need any of that stuff either. Okay. So you will get this email from me in just a bit. It'll have an address there, and it'll have a URL right here, a GitHub URL right there. So I don't forget it. And that's it. If you have questions, get a hold of me. I'll be on and off, mostly off, but I'll be on until 4 o'clock this afternoon. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good holiday. Bye.